So Furiosa opened up this weekend to only $25 million.
Oh no.
Point of reference, someone in the comment section put this one in there. Fury Road opened to $45.4 million 9 years ago. Factor in ticket price inflation, that's about $60 million. So number of tickets sold is about half as many as Fury Road. And in fact, Variety is calling this a disastrous Memorial Day weekend. If you remove 2020 from the equation because theaters were closed, movies weren't coming out, this is the worst Memorial Day weekend in almost 30 years. That's really, really bad. So the question is, what on earth happened? I've got 10 reasons that I think that this movie disappointed at the box office this weekend. While I'm talking, be sure to join me down below in the comment section. Why do you think that Furiosa, as well as so many other movies this year, have just bombed at the box office? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Also, this video is being pulled from my weekly box office show that I do over on Patreon. I do 2 weekly live streams over there. If you're interested in that type of content, consider joining over on Patreon for as little as $2 per month, $21 per year. You can join. $5 per month, you get your name on my end card. And at the top tier, you can actually do a 30-minute video chat with me each month. You are a member at that level. Information's down below in the description. And let's get talking about Furiosa. Fury Road came out 9 years ago at $45 million. Fury Road had the most Oscar nominations in 2016, and then it had the most Oscar wins in 2016, the year after the movie came out. Has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, and George Miller has had this idea for Furiosa and had the script for it for about 15 years, so he's been talking about making this movie for a while. Finally comes out, and it opens to just $25 million. What on earth happened here? All right, reason number one that I think that this movie disappointed at the box office: Fury Road wasn't a massive hit. It made just shy of $400 million on a $150 million budget, so it did okay. And considering how weird it is that it's rated R, it did solid, and because it was praised so much, because of solid reviews, there was reason to do a sequel, but at the same time, $400 million on a $150 million budget is not a great rate of return, because you have to keep in mind that $150 million is just the production of the film. That's how much they spent to make the movie. And then they spend about that much to market the movie. So just right there, the actual spend to make it and market it is like $300 million. Then you have to keep in mind that theaters take half of the money. So now all of a sudden, that $400 million to the studios is $200 million. So you do the math there. This movie wasn't like just pouring in dough. Fury Road. That's important because you kind of go into Furiosa being like, oh man, we got a sequel to this big hit film. No. We have a sequel to a movie that did okay. For being rated R, did pretty good. But for its budget, it only did okay, maybe lost some money while gaining clout for the studio for making a movie that was highly praised. So going into this one, expecting it to make a ton of money is probably unrealistic expectations. Reason number two: Fury Road is beloved by cinephiles, but not necessarily the general public. Fury Road is one of those movies that us that live on the internet, watching movies for a living, reading every article, we're excited by it because it's this weird, crazy action movie with insane stunts. But that's also not exactly what general audiences just flock towards and absolutely love. Like a movie where there's a room full of women being milked, and then people are drinking the milk. And like, that's weird. It's stuff that is not the most accessible to the broadest audience out there. And so the Fury Road, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. Critics adored the film. B+ CinemaScore. That is not good for a blockbuster. It means a lot of people went in, they went, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting. I wasn't crazy about that. All of us on the internet have been praising the movie since it came out. General audiences aren't as excited about the movie as us cinephiles. So a follow-up to it, you can expect a certain amount of diminishing returns. Third reason, the movie feels 5 years too late. There's a lot of excitement about Fury Road and Furiosa right when it came out. Like I mentioned earlier, Oscar nominations, Oscar wins, a lot of Oscar wins. But also, that was 9 years ago. Lots happened in that time. There's been kind of shuffling, moving around, different interests. The zeitgeist has changed. The conversations on the internet have changed. And so it just feels like a movie that we were meant to get back several years ago. That's when the iron was still hot. That's when people were still excited about it. And we've moved on from it. We're thinking about something different. And we'll get into this just a second, but 9 years later, instead of moving the story forward, you tell a prequel backwards. It just feels like we're missing where people are actually at. And so the excitement's not where it was several years ago. Reason number 4, it's a Mad Max movie without Mad Max. Combining this with what we just said of it's been 9 years, you kind of went like, where's Mad Max now? Or maybe we'll do old Man Max with Mel Gibson. No. We're going to go backwards in time and do a Furiosa prequel. Historically, spin-offs and prequels don't tend to do as good as the main storyline. When you do your prequel, where Mad Max, for any meaningful sense, is not in the movie, put Mad Max in the title, but it's about Furiosa, clearly about Furiosa from the title, all the trailers and everything, you just lose a portion of the audience that, I don't know, I want to see what Mad Max is up to. Furiosa's cool, but after 9 years, I want more Mad Max. Like, you should have done this a while ago. So I think these two kind of go together. If they'd been able to turn this movie out faster, people would have been excited for the spinoff, and then you continue the story forward with Max again. But when it's wait 9 years to not get Mad Max, there's a bunch of people that just feel like, oh, that's not what I want. That's why are we going backwards instead of forwards? Why isn't it Mad Max? We're running out of time here. And, George Miller's 80 years old, probably not going to get another one of these in particular because of what's going on with the box office with this film. So this is the end of the George Miller Mad Max films, possibly. And it doesn't have Mad Max in it. It just feels disappointing. All that to say, I think they dramatically overspent on the film. Now, they spent an amount that was roughly the same as what they spent on Fury Road 9 years ago. But that movie only did okay at the box office. They took a risk spending that much money on that film, and it kind of turned out okay for them, in particular when you factor in the prestige of that film. But that was also during a decade where you were getting a lot more movies making $1 billion, a lot more movies overperforming. And in the 2020s, movies just aren't doing that anymore. They're not performing as strong as they used to because of COVID disruptions, streaming disruptions, and the strike disruptions. Hollywood is kind of in a mess. People aren't buying as many movie tickets as they used to, and they still spent the same amount of money, except on a Mad Max film without Mad Max. That's not a great idea, and it put a burden on the movie's shoulders of box office expectations that it was very unlikely to deliver on. I just don't think there's broad enough appeal here to justify a movie that needs to make over $500 million to be profitable. Reason number 5, there's a general apprehension about any potential girl boss movies. That was a question a bunch of people asked me after I saw the film. Is it just a girl boss movie? Is it another movie where a girl just beats up all the guys and all the guys are dummies and idiots and the girl rises up? And I don't think it's that. I mean, Furiosa is an intense character that beats people up and is good at driving and good at shooting. But she's also there's a guy in it that she partners up with that outsmarts her, outmaneuvers her, and who trains her. Like, it's not like all the guys are dummies, idiots, and incompetent. So I wouldn't call it a girl boss movie, but there's absolutely this vein of the internet that is just tired of that. And it looked like another one of those. Like, all right, another movie where we can't do Mad Max, we're going to do the girl boss version of it. There's people immediately disappointed when you do that. And time again, demographics have shown that when you do this, the dudes still show up, but it doesn't actually expand the demographics. Like, having this movie star Furiosa doesn't make my wife any more interested in seeing the movie. Like, at all. And we saw this last year with the Marvels, where the demographics for the Marvels had a higher percentage of dudes seeing the movie than Guardians of the Galaxy. The movie that was made to target, to expand the brand and their demographics, so we'll make a movie that stars 3 women, lower percentage of females showed up to that movie. And it doesn't work. The guys still show up, but fewer of them show up, and it just doesn't grow the brand the way that they think. The audience actually shrank in doing something that they thought would perhaps expand the brand. Reason number 6, the marketing sold it as a rehash of Fury Road minus Max and without any unique value. So if you just watched the trailers, it looks aesthetically very much like Fury Road. It's a lot of the shots of them driving big tankers and stuff and explosions. And so it just looked like we're doing the same thing over again. And it used words like the Odyssey, the Mad Max Odyssey, and alluding to, the works of Homer on Odyssey. That's a fair comparison. But outside of saying Odyssey, it didn't actually sell you on the fact that that's what this story is, that it's the sprawling epic spanning over a decade. Like, an hour of this movie is someone else playing Furiosa besides Anya Taylor-Joy, because it covers so much time. That's unique, distinct inside of the Mad Max franchise, where most of these stories take place only over a couple of days, and this one covers 12, 15 years, something like that. That's interesting, unique, and different. And it's not really in the trailers, the nature of the story that we're telling here. So they marketed it in a way that just made it seem like, right, I already saw Fury Road. It's Fury Road minus the star of Fury, like Mad Max. What are we doing here? And it didn't sell us enough on what made it interesting. Along those exact same lines, the marketing sold it as a rehash of Fury Road, but with a lot more questionable CGI and less practical stunt work. As soon as the first trailers dropped, there was a bunch of people like, hey, wait a minute, this looks a lot more digitally processed than Fury Road. It looks a lot more CGI. The CGI doesn't look as good. And that is true of the movie. So they marketed it. Hey, remember Fury Road? It's Fury Road. We got Fury Road stuff. But what people loved about Fury Road was nonstop practical effects. And there's a ton of CGI in Fury Road, but it's like change the color of the sky, remove wires, and then all this insane stunt work. And you watch the trailer for Fury Road, and it just looked like a lot less practical stunt work, a lot more CGI, more green screen type stuff that looked processed. It didn't look real. It didn't look natural. So once again, the thing that you compared it to, Fury Road, that you sold it being on Fury Road, minus the thing that made Fury Road so good. Once again, I loved Furiosa, so this is not me saying I didn't like the movie, but talking about how the movie was marketed and how it's perceived in a way that would be less exciting to a lot of people. Carlin, just back from Furiosa, really dug it. However, literally every trailer before the movie was a sequel or a franchise movie coming out. I could hear audience members mentioning it out loud. Yeah, and maybe that's a one more to throw onto my list of reasons that the movie underperformed, is that continuing the pattern of what we saw last year, people are just burned out on constant sequels, reboots, reimaginings. We've seen it. We've done it. That's not exciting anymore. We don't need one more of those. But I don't think audiences know what they want to replace it with, though, because it's not like they're rushing out to go see original films. It's not like they went to go see If a week ago. Like, I think people just are kind of burned out on constant mega budget sequels, and Hollywood hasn't figured out how to get them to show up to original things. I don't think they know how to market things very well. They don't know how to raise awareness. They're just so used to, look, new comic book movie, look, new Pixar movie, look, and it's so brand driven as for the marketing that when you have something original, they it all just kind of feels empty. People are tired of what Hollywood's been doing. But they're also not checking out the new things that Hollywood's doing. Final three on here are actually kind of more general things as of recently. The Variety article had a section in it said this. Overall, this Memorial Day stretch adds to Hollywood's summer woes as ticket sales remain 22% behind 2023 and a concerning 41% behind 2019. That's not good. Like, the box office is doing really, really bad this year. Number 8, box office is struggling because costs are just too high. If you go to the movies, ticket prices are up, concession prices are up, and then if you want to see it like on a good screen, all of a sudden it's like $25 for an IMAX ticket. It gets really, really expensive very quickly. Like, even for me, on some of these movies where I'll get in for free, because I'm going to a press screening, but then take my family, we want to get popcorn, and we're still spending over $50. And that's not including tickets. So if we had to buy tickets, all of a sudden this would be way more than that. Now, that I'm not taking my family to Furiosa, but as a general issue as to why the box office in general is doing so poorly, costs are way up. It is expensive to go to the movies, and then the counterpoint, or not counterpoint, the complementary point to that, box office is struggling because the economy is bad, where costs of everything are way up and wages are not. A dollar is worth a lot less. Eggs cost a whole lot more. And if I have to spend more money on my eggs, I have less money to spend on movie tickets, but the cost of movie tickets has also increased. Thus, people are just not as inclined to go to the movies because you just have to find the right one that you're excited about. And you factor in all that stuff I just said. It's a prequel. It feels too late. It doesn't have Mad Max. It looks like there's more CGI in it that's not nearly as good. All of that combined, you go, this isn't maybe the one that I need to rush out to go see. This doesn't feel like the event. Final big one I have on here, box office is struggling because the theatrical window is shrinking. Ever since COVID, they've shrunk the theatrical window more and more to where Fall Guy came out this month. It's already on digital stores. Certain ones, like Universal, is doing like very frequent day and date release, 17-day turnaround from theater to being on digital. And you go, you're training people not to go to the movies. You're training people to just wait until I can rent the movie at home for $25 as opposed to spending $50 for 2 movie tickets plus another $50 for popcorn and drinks. I just watch it at home. And as many people as I want, we watch for $25. I got a great TV. I got a great sound system. I don't have annoying people at my theater that are behaving poorly, that are on their phone. I can pause it when I want to go to the bathroom. I'm just going to wait 2 weeks, 17 days or whatever to watch it. And more, they've been training audiences to behave in that fashion. It'll just be on streaming sooner and later. Now, you have to keep in mind another kind of factor in the general issues is that last year, we did have 2 different strikes that led to a 6-month disruption of writing and filming movies. So, like Deadpool and Wolverine was supposed to be our summer kickoff movie. Now it's kind of our summer closer movie. So it was pushed back 3 months. If we'd had Deadpool and Wolverine open the first weekend in May, all of a sudden May is doing a whole lot better. And I think there is some truth to hit movies pour fuel into the engine. The more people get in the routine of going to the movies and have a positive experience, the more they want to do it more. Even as simple as you go to the movies and then they play 30 minutes of trailers and you see these movies you're excited about for general audiences. Me and you, us watching, you're watching my channel. That means you're on the internet learning about movies. But my mom, she does watch my videos. I don't know how much she remembers what I say in them, but like general public people, my sister, my mom, they go to the theater and they see a trailer play and they go, oh, wow, there's a movie coming out about this. And they get excited for that next thing. But if they don't go to the movies, they don't see those trailers. They don't get excited. They don't get in that routine. And when you have a year where the only big event we've had is like Dune Part 2, only one event, and we're 5 months into the year, just the engine that gets people going, gets them in that habit, it's not happening. And so you just have a year with a lot of lackluster films, and then we get to Furiosa, and it's one more movie that's just dramatically performing, disappointing, and a box office that is really, really, really struggling compared to other years. So those are my reasons. Those are the ones that I came up with. Love to hear your theories. Did I miss any? Let me know down below. Those in you, the live stream, comment on it. I'll respond to some of those, or on the recap on this one, comment down below.